Well, welcome to anybody who's joined us to have a listen into this conversation. This is part of a series of conversations, LSC Education, with various members of our team, various friends of LSC, various leaders around the world. And LSC supports schools in their recruitment, their development of school leaders, literally across the world. And today, we're joined by one of our great LSC coaches, David Rousell. So David, hello.
Hi, Helen. It's really nice to see you and talk to you.
Well, I do so much enjoy talking to you. And tell us, this is all part of a series about unlocking the lockdown. So helping people, helping schools get out and beyond where they are at the moment. But in terms of your coaching, has the lockdown, has COVID-19 affected you?
It has. It has and it hasn't, Helen, in some ways. I think, COVID-19 has affected us all, but in terms of the coaching, one of the things I think is really important is that ever since I started coaching, which was about 3-4 years ago, what I always tended to find in my coaching was that I was trying to coach the person and not the tasks or the problems or the difficulties that they may or may not be facing. And one of the things I've found about the last few weeks is that the need to do that has become ever sharper, if that makes sense.
Tell me a bit more about that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think what it's brought into focus for me and for a lot of the people that I coach is that, we're told constantly we're in uncharted waters, and I think leaders always are. I mean, these are worse. These are the worst waters we've ever been in. But I think, yeah. But I think leaders have always been in uncharted waters, and therefore, what coaching does, and I wish I'd have had a coach when I was ahead, as I know I've shared with you before. But what coaching does, I think, is if you can join with leaders in a conversation that's about their thoughts and reflections and their values, what hopefully you come towards is that leaders have a sense of direction, and that direction is led and guided by the values that we discuss in our coaching sessions, and that values and meaning making, I think, goes beyond the everyday challenge, so that when leaders are faced with unpredictable and difficult things, they've got something to really hold on to. And I think the way that my coaching is developing even stronger in this time is to say, I think we were on the right track with that, and what we're trying to work with our people is to create a kind of long-lasting general impact on their life and work, which hopefully then spreads to their teams and their organizations and the communities that they serve. And so in one way it's been very different, and in one way it's just been an extension of what we've been trying to do all along in our coaching sessions over the last 2 or 3 years with the folk that I work with.
So you talked about drawing out meanings and meaning and values. How do you do that with school leaders, and how did they respond? How do they recognize the value there is? How do you do it? How do they recognize the value?
I think sometimes they don't, but quite often, and you know this as well as I do, Helen, quite often your coaching is around a narrative. It's all about story. Yeah. And what happens, I think, in some of the sessions that I've been involved with is, for example, you might say to one of the people you're working with, tell me about a time when you did something that was really successful. And they'll go on for ages about it, which is great, because they should be proud of it. And then you'll say, why was it so successful? And quite often, because teachers and school leaders are like they are, quite often they'll say, oh, I had a great team, I was really lucky. And I think what we do as coaches is we go, forget that. We know we've got great teams. We know that we need luck to be successful. Let's go a bit deeper. What else is it about you that makes people want to go along with the kind of ideas and thoughts and actions that you're suggesting to make schools even better places. And then people go, well, what? So I can't talk about my team and luck? No, you can't. Let's talk about you. What was the impact that you had on that situation? And then you begin to draw down, and they go, well, because I, and they'll say things like, well, I always put the children first. Right? Okay, there's a value right there. Yeah. I always like to listen and think carefully and talk to my team. Another value right there. Yeah. And as you begin to probe, gradually people go, well, actually, I did okay, didn't I? Yeah, I had some luck. Yeah, the team was great. Yeah, the kids responded brilliantly. Yeah, good. But they responded because you led them in a way that elicited that response. And so, it's trying to draw people out to look at what's behind the story they've just told you that is about them. And then I guess the next trick is to say, how can you then evoke that in the other people that you lead, the same kind of way of working? And that's why I think COVID offers a really interesting opportunity, if you dare say that, in this time, which is obviously very sad and tragic for many people. But it does offer an opportunity for us to continue to develop and model that kind of coaching relationship, even at a distance.
So what would you say to leaders who say, well, I'm so busy, I've got all of these things to do, I'm managing all of these things, why should I make time for coaching in my schedule? Why should I invest in coaching? What would you say to those school leaders?
I think I'd say to those school leaders that the investment of time is that opportunity to really understand yourself and to really understand how you show up as a leader and how that impacts on other people. And here's another interesting thing, Helen. Sometimes when we talk about that in coaching sessions, people will say, I'll say something like, well, how do the people that you lead, how do they respond to that? And they go, well, I think they think this. And I go, I don't want to know what they think. I want to know what you know about your people. And they go, well, I've never asked them. And I go, well, that'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Maybe, yeah. And so, trying to get to that essence of dialogic leadership, where people say to the people they lead, how can I be the leader that you need me to be? What is the best support that I can give you? If this meeting is going to be half an hour well spent, what am I going to learn? Or what are you going to learn? And what are you going to take away? And so that we begin to get underneath the assumptions that we sometimes make.
And also the things we don't know,
yeah,
unknown unknowns.
Yeah. Absolutely, and this period of remote leadership it is an ideal example, because a lot of the people that I talked to over the last month go, well, it's really different leading people, because normally I'd just go down the corridor and put my arm around them and give them a pep talk or whatever, and I can't do that. So how can you do that remotely? What are the tactics? Have you talked to them about whether they prefer phone calls or Skype? Have you talked to them about what their conditions are like for working at home? Have you asked them? Have you asked them what it'll look like if it's successful? And all of these things are, in a sense, quite practical questions, but all the time they're modeling a coaching mindset that says, how can I be the leader these people need? I know how to do it when I'm in school and they're in the classroom just down the corridor. How can I do it when they live the other side of London and I'm never going to see them for the next 6 weeks?
Yes.
And a lot of it is just to repeat what you said a few seconds ago, Helen. A lot of it's about asking questions. What don't you know? And if you don't know it, ask.
Brilliant. Well, David, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that insight into it. It's great working with you, and I look forward to our continued conversations. But thank you very, very much indeed for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen.